Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. So glad you're here. I popped on just a minute or so early because I want to get us set up with a feel good heart opener and release this morning. So if you're just settling in and getting here, good morning, Carissa. Good morning, Bill. Morning, Sandy. Good to have you guys. If you're just getting here and settling in, don't worry, you're not late. We've still got a minute or two. But I'm going to encourage you to go find or grab a bath towel, or if you have a yoga blanket or some kind of dense blanket, go ahead and grab it. Just take a minute to go find that. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, Sarah. Good morning. If you don't have anything that comes to mind, or if you're practicing in a space like you decided to do outside this morning or something, don't worry about it. We're only going to use it to get started. And then once you have that item, whatever that is, we're going to make a little taquito. It's a breakfast taquito to lay over this morning. So I took my bath towel and just folded it in half. What would that be? Hamburger style. And then took one of those ends and started to roll it up into a little roll. Kind of like a sin dog loaf, maybe, if you're into the Dave's Killer Bread. So something that's just going to give us a gentle heart opener this morning. All right. So with that, it is 10 o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started. Welcome, everyone. I'm Mikki, if you've not practiced with me before, and this is our Saturday morning, one of my new favorite routines, yoga and coffee. It's going to be a practice all about taking care this morning, and not the platitude, take care of yourself, but taking great care of ourselves, taking great care of the small things as we go through our practice this morning. Yoga, hopefully part of this practice, more than moving our bodies and strengthening and stretching our bodies, hopefully part of this practice is also learning to be a little bit more intentional with how we live. And part of that is, as we come to our mat, tuning in to how we talk to ourselves and how we breathe and how we position our bodies and what that creates. And so in that way this morning, my intention for this practice as we settle into the weekend is to take great care of ourselves as we move this morning, and to pay great care to the small details of our space today. All right. So with that, we're going to get laid. We're going to get laid. Nope, that's not what's going to happen. We are going to get started. Laying over. Good morning, Amanda. Yay, good to have you here. We're going to get started laying over this little roll. So if you're just joining us, if you have a moment, go grab that towel or a blanket to roll up into a little breakfast taquito. If you don't, then we'll just get started flat on our backs. But those of you that have the roll, you're going to lay down. Good morning, Debbie. With that rolled up item beneath your shoulder blades. And very specifically here, I want it to be at a place where when you lay down and put your head and your arms on the floor, the arms, the head, and maybe even the shoulders are on the ground above your rolled up item. So if as you lay down, it either feels not rolled up enough or rolled up too much, you might adjust here. But it really should feel like your rolled up blanket or towel is lifting the chest and the heart up toward the sky, and that then the ribs and the shoulders and the head can sort of just drape over it and into the ground. Your arms can come out to the side into either a goalpost or a T shape. And then let's start to take great care in how you set yourself up here. Are the eyes open or closed? Which feels better to you this morning? How are the hands positioned and the arms positioned on the ground? And then with your legs, maybe those knees stay bent. Some of you, maybe the legs go out to straight. But just notice the effect. Where you place your feet, where you place your legs, what that starts to create for your low back, for your sense of space here this morning. And then let's start to take great care with our breath. As you inhale, feeling yourself fill up. As you exhale, feeling yourself release, and especially if you're laying over this rolled up blanket or towel, can you feel yourself draping mm, and releasing over that item, letting the parts of you that are touching the ground get heavier and heavier into the support? As you breathe in here, feeling a sense of receptivity, of openness. And as you exhale, a sense of containment, a sense of being held, of again, that care. Let's take a few more breaths here this morning. Maybe you're at a place in your week and your day and your practice that you just really need to feel that physical release over this rolled up blanket. There's a sense of softening happening within your space. Maybe you really need that sense of openness, that physically opening the heart and the front of the chest can provide for us energetically and emotionally. Maybe you need to feel contained and held and cared for. And any of these are great intentions, and there might be others, but in these final few breaths that we spend here, allowing an intention or a focus for your practice. What kind of care are you giving to yourself today? About 3 more really full, steady breaths. If your legs went out to straight at some point, let's bend the knees and place the feet on the ground. And then just be really gentle and gradual here. Let's kind of shift your hips to a side and begin to roll over onto a side, pressing down into the floor to ease yourself up away from the ground. And then, as I said, that towel or blanket is only being used for that opening. So you can just go ahead and get rid of it and out of the way. If it happens to actually be a blanket, you might keep it nearby for the end of your practice. And then we're going to come on up and over into your hands and knees, your table shape. As you settle there, let's take your knees nice and wide, let your big toes come together, and we're going to press your hips all the way back toward your heels, coming into child's pose. So sort of the opposite of the shape we were just doing. The laying over the blanket or the towel being a shape to encourage that opening, that receptivity, and then child's pose being the shape of containment, of nurturing, and of taking care. Let's spend a couple breaths here. Let the hips really drop back toward the heels. And then let's begin to sort of blend the experience of these two shapes together. So let's press the hands into the ground. Have them be about shoulder width, so it's sort of like your down dog setup. And we're going to start to float your elbows off the ground. So those arms are going to be straight and active. Let the hips continue to be heavy toward the heels. Doesn't matter if they touch, but they're just heading that direction. And I want you to channel that phantom blanket roll behind your shoulder blades and see if that mid upper back can just start to very subtly slide toward the chest. So into the body and then the chest toward the chin. It's really subtle, soft kind of actions as opposed to a huge movement. And then let's take your hands, walk them maybe a half an inch or an inch forward, and put them back down. And as those hands settle there, let the hips pull back toward your heels again, feeling that elongation. Again, see if your upper mid back can drop in toward the chest and the sternum, the chest toward the chin. So instead of letting there be kind of a round and a puff in that upper back, you're trying to draw into the back of your heart. And then let's do that one more time. Take your hands, walk them another inch or so forward, and then put those palms flat down, Feel that elongation. You might need to pick your head up and move it an inch forward or so. And one more breath here. Feel those hips pull back. Feel the back of the heart move in toward the front of the heart and the chest toward the chin. And then let's inhale, rise on up. Table. You're going to get some barking from Shanti for a moment. There must be a delivery person here. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the heart, lift the head, cow pose. And exhale, round your spine, cat. Let's do that a couple times. So as you inhale, it's the same shape we were doing laying over your little breakfast taquito. Feel the back of the heart move into the front of the heart. Feel the head lift, cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, cat. One more time, cow pose. And cat pose. As you inhale, let's let that spine flatten out. Tailbone lengthening back, crown of head lengthening forward, table. Let's tuck your toes under and lift those knees just an inch off the ground. You're at home, I can't see you, so you could pretend to do this. A little good morning and wake up for our low core. Feel the way that your hands are touching the ground. Feel your breath. Right? These small details that make up the greater experience, and take great care with them. And then let the knees come on back down to the ground. Try to keep your spine long and neutral or flat here. Go ahead and untuck those toes. Let's take your right hand, reach it up toward the sky. And then exhale, bring that right arm under your left. Go ahead and settle the back of the hand on the ground. Maybe let the right cheek come on down to the floor. Just a couple breaths here. That left hand can stay where it is, or you could walk your left hand forward toward the front of the mat. And just like we were doing in child's pose, flatten that hand, but keep the elbow off the floor. Big full inhale into the back of your heart here. As you exhale, soften something. And then we'll bring that left hand back in by the face. Push down into the left hand. Take your right hand up toward the sky. And exhale, hand comes down to the ground. Same exact thing, second side. Left hand goes up. And left hand under the right arm. Come on down to the back of the shoulder and the left cheek. Stay where you are, or let that right hand walk forward so that there's both a sense of side to side space and length and front to back space and length. Inhaling to create a sense of openness, of receptivity, space. And exhale, that sense of containment that feels held, cared for. And then walk that right hand back in, left hand to the sky. And left hand down into table. One more time, let's tuck those toes under, knees come an inch off the ground. Floating table. Steady, steady breath. Let the back of the neck be long. Allow every single knuckle to press into the ground. Try not to let the weight roll out to the pinky edge of the hand. And then one more time, knees come down. Untuck your toes, press into the shins, the tops of the feet. Feel that intentional grounding into the legs. You're going to do your best to keep your hips over your knees, the legs just as they are, and begin to walk your hands forward into puppy dog pose. So it's the top half of down dog, but you're on your knees. We'll start by just dropping your forehead to the floor. Elbows are off the ground. Back of the heart is moving in toward the front of the heart toward the chin, but you're resisting your arms and your armpits away from the floor. Breathing fully into the front and the back of the heart. Some of you stay here, last couple breaths. Some of you take your chin to the ground, look forward. If it's too much, don't do it. And then bring the forehead back to the ground if you move to the chin. Bring your hands back under your shoulders, press up table. And this time, let's tuck the toes under, and finally, downward facing dog. As you find your down dog, let's do a little Saturday morning tail wag. Maybe a little Saturday morning pedaling of the legs or the feet. And then when you're ready, let's collectively all rise up onto the tippy toes, let the heels lift. Exhale, let those heels drop down. One more time, rise up and release. You can stay there with that if that feels perfect for your Saturday morning, or inhale, come forward to plank, top of a push-up. And exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. 2 more breaths here. Either of those movements will do. I'm going to give you lots of options this morning, and your job is to take great care with the options that you choose. Always feeling good about making up your own options or saying no to things. We're going to pull back into down dog one more time. Let your heels drop toward the ground. And if it makes sense in your body this morning, begin to take your right leg up and back. And then however it works for you, it doesn't need to be graceful. Bring your right foot forward between your hands. We're going to pop up onto fingertips. Let your back leg really powerfully straighten back. And then, like we've done a couple times already, let's start to move the back of the heart in toward the front of the heart. So instead of letting there be kind of a rounding of your upper back, pull back on the fingertips. See if that upper back can move down and forward. And then let the heart and the collarbones smile. Which, when I think about that, then puts a smile on my face too. And then slowly go ahead and bend that back knee. Let your back knee come to the ground. Let both hands go up to the sky, low lunge. And then hands come on down to the ground. Let that back knee lift once again. And let's take it back, downward facing dog. Those transitions into down dog and out of down dog will, for a lot of us, feel clunky for a very long time. So try not to pressure yourself there. It doesn't need to be graceful. If it makes sense, left leg goes up and back. And then left foot between your hands. Pop onto your fingertips. We'll start with that back knee straight and long. Pull back on your fingertips and just see what you can create in terms of that really subtle mobility of the upper back. Can you drop that upper back in toward the chest? Let the chest move forward, broaden the collarbones like the chest is smiling. And then let the back knee come on down to the ground. Let your 2 hands come on up to the sky. And then hands come back down around your front foot. Again, tuck those back toes under, lift the back knee, downward facing dog. Let the head be heavy between your arms, maybe a little nod or a little shake. And then let's take a stroll to the front of the mat. So feet as many steps as you need, walk forward. Bend your knees when you need to bend the knees. And then once you're in that forward fold, standing on your feet, let the head release, let the arms release. Feel gravity pulling the head and the arms toward the ground. That effect on your spine. And then we'll bend your knees a little bit more. Start to roll up inch by inch by inch. All the way up to standing. And at the top there, go ahead and take your hands, reach them up toward the ceiling. Let the eyeballs follow the fingertips, and then we'll press the palms together and exhale, hands down into your heart. Inhale, hands to the sky. You can go wide if you have room, or just forward works too. Allow the eyes to track the fingers. Exhale, hands come together and into the heart. Feel the heart rise to meet the thumbs. One more time. Inhale, reaching. And hands to heart, exhale. We'll add on from there. Inhale, let's reach. Exhale, let's fold. Bend the knees as much as you need to. We'll drape all the way over your legs. As you fold, let your fingers find your shins. And the fingers are going to slide up the shins as you halfway lift. So it's kind of like your table pose, long, flat spine. And then exhale, bow forward. Let the head release. Let the shoulders release. Root into your feet. Inhale, rise up, reach up. And exhale, hands to heart. This returning into yourself, that containment, that care, every time we return here. Adding on, inhale, let's reach. Exhale, let's fold. Halfway lift, inhale. And as you fold, we'll exhale and step your left leg back. Let's keep that back knee off the ground this time if that feels okay this morning. And then we're either going to sneak your hands onto your front thigh or keeping your body leaning forward, reach those arms back. Like there's something really good to grab onto back there. Big full breath here. And then with your next inhale, let's start to bring your shoulders over your hips, hands up to the sky. Maybe the eyes look upward, maybe they look forward. Be intentional, take great care with that placement of your eyes, and then inhale, straighten the front leg, root into your right big toe, and exhale, bend the front knee. Stay there for 2 more rounds of breath, straightening with the inhale, bending with the exhale. 1 more. My cat wants attention. And then let's inhale, look up toward the hands, if they're not already, or if you're not already looking up, and then exhale, hands around your front foot, and let's take it back, downward facing dog. So you're invited to stay here, or inhale, roll forward to plank. Let's take the knees down to the ground for this first Saturday morning chaturanga. Elbows point straight back. Can your heart and your collarbones continue to smile? And again, maybe that puts a smile on your face. All the way down to the belly. Untuck your toes, and then it's the ultimate collarbone smiling pose, cobra pose. Let the heart lift, the shoulders move back. Back of the neck is long. Exhale, let the forehead come toward the ground. We'll press up table, or some of you maybe plank, and downward facing dog. When you're ready, left leg lifts up and back. And then foot between your hands. Pop onto your fingertips, get the feet just right. And then when you're ready, keeping your body leaning forward like this, either hands on front thigh or hands reaching back. Make sure the neck is free and easy, the jaw is relaxed. And then when you're ready, we'll bring shoulders over hips and hands to the sky. Maybe eyeballs are upward, maybe they're forward. Press into that left big toe, inhale, straighten your front leg. Exhale, bend the front knee. 2 more breaths here, 2 more rounds. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. 1 more time. As you inhale this next time, maybe you look up if you're not already, and then exhale, hands around your front foot. Let's step your right foot to meet your left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rising up, feeling the body get long, get stacked, get tall. And then let the palms join together overhead, hands come into the heart. Heart lifts to meet your thumbs. Pausing for a full inhale here. Pausing for a full exhale. 1 more breath here. Maybe the thumbs actually rest on the center of the sternum so you can feel that lift of the chest into the thumbs. And then let's continue. Inhale, hands go up. And exhale, we fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bow forward. As you fold, we'll step the right leg back. Starting the same way, hands on front thigh or hands reaching back, your choice. And then we'll bring shoulders over hips and hands to the sky. As you settle here, let's bring your left hand down onto your left hip. And right hand is going to come across outside the left thigh. My allergies are so bad right now, I'm sorry. If I sound short of breath, that's why. Hand outside the left knee. I know that's a dangerous thing right now. It's 100% allergies. Push into the hand. Start to spin the heart open toward the left. So we're going to keep the torso pretty upright for now. And then if it makes sense to you, just start leaning a little forward and sliding that right arm further down the leg. You might start that. But let's start or try to keep the collarbones smiling. The upper back moving in toward the chest and those shoulders broadening. Last 2 breaths here. Maybe that left hand reaches up toward the sky. And then as you exhale, we'll untwist. Let your hands come down around your front foot. And back we go. Downward facing dog. Again, you have the invitation to stay here and be still for a few breaths. Or inhale, plank. Knees up or down, we lower to the belly. Untuck your toes, inhale. Maybe you keep it low cobra, maybe you lift up high cobra. How much space can you create around the heart, around the front of your shoulders? And then exhale back to the belly. Pressing up through table or plank. And downward facing dog. Full complete inhale here. Full complete exhale. When you're ready, if it makes sense, right leg to the sky. And then right foot between your hands. So we start the same way. Hands on front thigh or hands reaching back, up to you. And then when you're ready, shoulders over hips, hands to the sky. We'll bring your right hand to your right hip, keeping your body fairly upright. To start to rotate, let that left hand come outside the right thigh. Push the hand into the outer leg. Feel the body, the chest start to rotate. Create space where you can. Stay here if you'd like. Or start to tip forward, sliding that left arm further down the leg. Just continue playing with that really subtle effort and action of moving the back of the heart in toward the front of the heart. Last 2 breaths here. Maybe that right hand goes up to the sky. And then we'll slowly untwist. Let the hands come down around your front foot. Look forward and step that left foot to meet the right. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, reach up. And exhale, hands to heart. Big full inhale. Full complete exhale. And as you settle into that exhale, let's actually turn the palms and let them settle on the chest. So palm over heartbeat. Let your eyes settle somewhere where the eyes feel like they're helping you feel steady and stable. And then let's shift into your right foot. Start to bend your left knee. Left knee is turning out toward the left. And we're going to come into tree pose. So left foot on ankle, calf, or thigh. Up to you. I'm going to choose to keep my hands on my heart this morning. You might grow some branches or hold on to something. But wherever you're at, let it be really intentional, where it's not just a haphazard autopilot placement of hands or breath or eyes, but each little piece of the pose and your experience here is creating the overall greater experience. If you step out or fall out, no big deal. Take a breath, come back in. And then let that left knee turn forward and let the foot come on down to the ground. Feel 2 feet connected to the floor. Hands go wide and all the way up to the sky. Let the eyeballs follow. And then exhale, hands to heart. Again, maybe those hands subtle, hand over heartbeat. And we'll shift into your second side. So weight comes into that left foot. Right knee comes up. When you're ready, knee turns to the side and ankle, calf, or thigh for your tree pose today. Letting the hands settle where they want to settle. Noticing the eyes, the breath. One more full breath here. And then we'll bring the knee forward, foot to the ground. 2 feet on the floor, hands to the sky. Inhale. Little smile on your face as we start to bend the knees and sit back. Here it comes. Here it comes. Chair pose. Wouldn't be Saturday morning without at least one chair. Let the weight really shift back. I'm more concerned about back than down. So I like to think of it like you've been karate chopped in the hips and you're like slow motion matrix style responding. So the hips are really going back. Weight is in the heels. And then let's shift into that right foot. Begin to take your left leg back into your lunge. Let the shoulders come over the hips and hands reach up toward the sky. Once you're settled there, we're going to let the back heel drop to the ground. Let those toes angle out. So warrior one in the legs. That outer left hip, while it's going to want to roll open, just encourage it gently to roll forward. The outer right hip gently rolling and pulling back. And then let's bring your hands down onto your hips and pull your elbows back like you're trying to touch the elbows behind you. It should not be possible. Push into your right big toe, straighten that front leg. Before we go any further, feel that effort of the back of the heart moving into the front of the heart, the chest lifting toward the chin. That space, maybe it feels like a smile to you, maybe it doesn't, but that breath across the collarbones. And then try to keep that, and let's tip forward any amount over your front leg. So what's going to happen for a lot of us here is as you start to fold, that upper back is going to start to round toward the sky. And I want you to see if you can continue to move the back of the heart in toward the chest. This is good yoga work, but it's also good for sitting at a desk 8 hours a day, being on your phone multiple hours a day. Let's root into that back foot a tiny bit more and see how long the back of the neck can get. And then rebend your front knee. Release your hands up to the sky, and let's open up warrior two. Shoulders open toward the long edge of your mat. We're going to keep the shoulders right over the pelvis, right over the hips here to start. And deepen your shoulders. All I want you to do is turn the palms forward and up. And then turn those palms forward and down. So a couple rotations of range of motion here, up and back with the palms, and then forward, down, and back. And feel this action coming not from the arms or the forearms, but deeply in the shoulders. You might even close your eyes. Deeply in your upper middle back. Sort of like a bird with this really incredible wingspan. Can the movement of your arms originate from your heart, from deeply within yourself? Let's do that one more time. And we're gonna end up with your left palm facing the ground, right palm facing the sky, and reverse. Left hand down the back leg, right hand to the ceiling. You can look up, sideways, or down. Couple more breaths in your reverse warrior here. And then as you exhale the next time, hands around your front foot, back heel lifts. And any way that works for you, we step back, downward facing dog. So you might choose a few breaths in child's pose. You might choose a few breaths in down dog. If you want to keep moving, inhale, plank. Knees up or down, we lower to the belly, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, low or high. Back to the belly with your exhale. Inhaling, table or plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. When you're ready, let's inhale, bend the knees, lift the heels, look forward. Exhale, walk, step, or hop. Top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. Settling in here, just a couple breaths. Eyes could be closed or dropped. Let the thumbs settle in the sternum, the middle of the chest. Feel the chest lift toward the thumbs as those thumbs settle. Take great care, great intention with the small details here. We can come to our mats and pay more attention to things like our breath and our eyes and the way that our hands and our feet touch the ground, subtle actions in our bodies. And we will also head off into our life off the mat and be able to pay more attention. Be able to live life with greater intention. So let's keep going. Let's keep paying attention. Inhale, hands go up. As your hands go up, let's take those hips back, bending the knees, chair pose. Full, complete breath in. And full, complete breath out. Shifting into your left leg. Let's take that right leg back. Settling into your lunge, shoulders over hips. We're going to ground your back heel, back toes angle out, and just take a moment there to feel the rotation of your hips. It's gentle, don't force anything, but outer left hip back, outer right hip forward. And then hands are coming down onto your hips. We'll bend the elbows, pull those elbows back like you're trying to tap them together behind you. Use that to create that lift of back of heart into front of heart. Straighten your front leg. And then attempt to keep the shape that you've built in that upper back as you start to tip forward any amount. And just notice those moments where the elbows want to start to go forward, the upper back wants to round toward the sky. And can you recommit? Maybe that means you come up a little bit higher. Recommit. Upper back, back of heart into chest. Collarbones and shoulders smiling. And back of the neck long. Final full breath here. We bend the front knee, come on up. Hands to the sky, shoulders over hips, and then let's open warrior two. Shoulders opening toward the long edge of your mat. And we'll settle with your shoulders right over your hips. Again, maybe you close the eyes and let's take some of those rotations in the arms again. Almost like a little gear system in your upper back. Can you feel the rotation of the arms and shoulders coming from deep within that heart space? Let's end up with the front palm skyward, back palm downward, And we'll reverse. Right hand down the back leg, left hand to the ceiling. And then hands around your front foot and back we go. Downward facing dog. You have the invitation for some child's pose or some down dog if you want to keep moving. Inhale, plank. Chaturanga, exhale. Back bend of your choosing, inhale. Back to the belly, exhale. Table or plank, inhale. And downward facing dog. Full complete inhale. Full unrushed exhale. Let's bend the knees, lift the heels, look forward. As you exhale, walk, step, or hop. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, reach up. And as you exhale, let's bring your hands into your heart and your left knee up toward the belly. Stand tall here. Continue to lift your sternum, your heart toward your thumbs. The thumbs might even rest there. Give this left leg some purpose. So give it something to step into, an imaginary step or box or something. And then keeping your heart up, the collarbones really broad, we're going to start to rotate around your waist to look over that left thigh. Notice your desire to lean back. And try to keep those shoulders right over the hips. Stay here if you like, or with your hands like you're high-fiving someone, take that right hand forward and left hand back. Press out through the wrists, out through the palms. Keep lifting the heart. And then bring your hands back together in front of the heart. Turn the heart forward, the body forward. And we're going to step your left leg all the way back into your lunge. Keep the hands at your heart, shoulders over hips. And then we're going to take that same rotation now, but over the right thigh. So from around your waist, turn the heart toward the right. Keep the shoulders over the hips. Stay here last couple breaths, or left hand forward, right hand back, like you're high-fiving yogi friends somewhere. Keep lifting the heart. Keep broadening through your wingspan. And then hands come back to heart, untwist. Let's tip forward over the front thigh. So again, you have the option to put hands on your thigh. You have the option to keep the hands at heart or to reach back. Let's come up onto that right leg and take flight, warrior 3. If you come up and you're like, nope, not today, back to your lunge you go. You've got 2 more breaths here. Can you continue that work of the upper back? Can the back of your heart here move in toward the chest toward the chin? And then bend that front knee, come on back. Hands to the sky. Turn the palms to face each other. Since you can't high five your yoga and bent beer friends here, maybe you high five yourself. Push the palms together. And then exhale, hands come down around your front foot. Option to stay here a couple breaths, option to straighten that front leg and fold. Let the head be heavy. Make sure that the back molars are separated so the jaw is easy. How's that space between your eyebrows? And how's that space at the base of your neck? Let's bend the front knee, take it back. Downward facing dog. And just like the last couple times we've been here, you have options to be still, options to find movement. Maybe rolling through that vinyasa of plank, chaturanga, and back bend. Encouraging yourself to come back down to the belly and press up so that you're building the strength both of pushing and pulling within those vinyasas. Let's take one more journey to the front of the mat. With your inhale, bend the knees, lift the heels, look forward, and exhale, walk, step, or hop. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, we rise. Hands go up toward the sky. And as you exhale, hands come to heart, right knee comes in toward the belly. Home stretch here, our last round of standing poses. Maybe those thumbs settle on the sternum once again, the heart lifting to meet the thumbs. Feel that length all the way up through the crown of the head. And then keeping all of that length in space, let's start to rotate around your waist toward the right. Left elbow forward, right elbow back. Stay here if you'd like, or without leaning back too much, try to press those hands forward and back. Make sure that right foot has purpose. And then let the hands come to heart. We untwist, and we step that right leg back into your lunge. As you settle, let the heart settle right over, the shoulders settle right over the hips. And again, we rotate toward the front thigh. So left elbow back, right elbow forward. It's not going to be a perfect forward and back line. Just kind of see where your body wants to stop. Stay there, or right hand forward, left hand back. High fives. And then we untwist, bring your hands back to heart, and let's start to lean forward. Maybe hands are on front thigh, maybe hands are at heart, maybe they're reaching back. You are more than invited to keep 2 feet on the ground. If it feels nice to fly this morning, up you go. Warrior 3. How about 3 more breaths here today? And then we bend the front knee, step it back. One more time, 2 hands to the sky. Maybe you look up, maybe you high five yourself. And then hands come down. Front leg straightens any amount. Let your head be heavy. Couple breaths here. And let's bend your front knee. Step it back to downward facing dog, any way that feels nice today. Maybe one final vinyasa. And when you are ready, no rush if you're taking that vinyasa, let's drop your knees down to the ground, untuck your toes, and sit back on your heels. If this doesn't feel good on your knees, you could come up to kneeling instead. So on the heels or kneeling, let's bring your hands over your heart. And it might not look like anything, but as you settle here, can you just feel your heart, that chest area lifting up into your hands? That sense of openness and receptivity, but then also that sense of being held, of cared for, of containment. Let's inhale, come on up to kneeling if you're not already. Knees below your hips, tops of the feet pressing into the ground. And I want you just to take yourself all the way back to that very first shape we did, that taquito, that little blanket roll above or behind the upper back. And we're going to try to recreate that here. That sense of lift of the back of the heart into the front of the heart. That space across the collarbones and the front of the shoulders. And then I want you to imagine that you're hugging maybe like an overly ripe peach between your chin and your chest. So you're trying not to squish it, but you're holding it ever so gently, just to keep some engagement in the neck, keep the back of the neck long. This might be your camel pose today. You might choose to take your hands and drop them toward the back of the thighs or the calves. Maybe you clasp the hands to do that. Some of you, if holding onto the heels and your camel pose is available, you might head there. Try not to get lost in the shape and the doing of things, but be really, really intentional. Take great care with the small details here to give yourself this sense of lift, back bends done right, or like a good cup of coffee. And then slowly, 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 let's bring yourself back to more of a neutral shape. Sit back on your heels if that's comfortable. And let the eyes close or the gaze drop. I'm going to recommend hands on top of your heart, but you take your hands where it intentionally makes sense for you in your practice today. One more full breath here. And then let's slide down onto your sit bones. Let the legs swing out in front of you. And we're going to take those legs out to straight. Heels pressing forward, toes pulling back, and the toes pointed straight up toward the sky. Now, those of you that really struggle with this pose, since we have it, I'm going to throw this in. If you have that blanket or towel that you used, maybe you bring that back in. You could unfold it if you want to, or if the roll is thick enough, you could sit on that roll. But give your hips a little lift. If it is obnoxious or takes too much time, don't worry about it. But if you have it and want to try it, there it is. We're going to take your hands to about your knees on fingertips, maybe a little further back if you need to stay more upright. Press forward through those heels, pull back through the toes. And then let's do that same upper back work that we've been doing. So instead of letting the back of the heart round back, see if even if it's really subtle, back of the heart can move forward to the chest, chest toward chin. Maybe you realize this is a really good place for you to stay, or maybe the hands go an inch or two or three more forward. And then same exact thing. Upper back, back of heart moves into the front of the heart, chest toward chin. Make sure the back of the neck is still really long. Maybe the hands go a couple more inches forward. Got about 5 more breaths here. If you found your perfect stopping point, then there you stay. If you're still playing with folding more, fold more. But just notice that point at which it starts being about the depth and not that great care. Can you have enough space to work with that you're able to create more space, more ease, more release? Final full breath here. And then let's walk your hands in. If you sat up on that blanket roll, go ahead and come on down. Get rid of it. You might actually keep it close by. I'll give one option for it for Shavasana. And then let's come on down to your back. And as you come on down to your back, let's bring your right knee into your chest and hold on to the shin or the thigh. Let your left leg head out to straight if that feels comfortable. It could also stay bent on the floor. And even though you're flat on the ground now, can those shoulders continue to melt back into the floor? And then let's release your right arm out to the side, left hand on your right knee, and let's guide that leg across your body into the twist. You can roll as much onto your outer left hip as you would like. That right foot might come to the ground for some of you. It might hover for some of you. You might also rest it on your inner right thigh. Invite and allow your right shoulder and right arm to get really heavy into the ground. Lingering in the fullness of your breath here. And then we'll return to the back. Bring your right knee in nice and firmly. Let your left leg come in to join. And maybe you just hold on to the shins. Maybe you curl your nose up toward the knees. Some of you maybe hold on to the outer edges of the feet and pull yourself into a teeny tiny little ball. The feet, if you have them, maybe push into the hands so that you feel a sense of release up the back of the neck and in between the shoulder blades. And then let the head come back down. Hands shift over to that left leg and let your right leg release down to the ground, bent or straight. A breath or two or three here. And then when you feel called to move into the twist, your left arm releases to the side. The right hand guides your left leg across. That left foot on floor or air or inner right thigh, whichever one feels nice there. Allow the parts of you that can be held here to be held. The head, back of the shoulders, that right hip, your right leg. Two more full breaths here. And we'll come on back to center. Let that left leg come in nice and tight. Bring your right leg in as well. Maybe you just hug onto the legs. Maybe you bring your chin up toward your knees. Maybe you reach onto your feet. And then when you're ready, let's take your body out into your Shavasana. Letting the legs come to the ground in a way that's comfortable. And because we have that blanket roll, if you grabbed it, I'm going to invite you and encourage you to maybe put it beneath your knees if it's still rolled up, to encourage a greater sense of release in your low back. Take great care with the positioning of your hands, making sure that they're not touching anything that's distracting, making sure that the place that you've put them encourages that release through the arms and deeply into your upper back and ultimately into your heart. Allowing the eyes to close if that makes sense, and just letting the breath become really soft and easy here. Taking release and rest in the space that you've created this morning. The beauty of our home practices is that you can stay here as long as you want to. So if you're feeling like you need more time here, I invite and encourage you to stay longer. And if you're ready to head into what, for at least those of us in the Northwest, is looking to be a beautiful Saturday, start to let your breath deepen. As it makes sense to add movement into your body, let that movement return. And eventually, without any rush, allow yourself to make your way up to a comfortable seat. And as you find that seat, let's end our practice today with palm over heartbeat, that spaciousness, that receptivity and openness of the heart, but also that containment, that care, that holding of yourself. And as we head off today and into our weekend and these next few weeks and months of transition and reopening and all of the things that come with that, just continuing to give great care to yourself, the small details of your life and how you navigate this, but also giving that great care to those around you. Taking great care with your words and your actions and your thoughts and your smiles as you head back out and into this world. Taking care of one another. Thank you all so much for practicing together this morning. The light within me honors the light within each of you. Namaste. Mm. Thank you guys. I needed that practice this morning. I actually had a totally different class planned. And then I practiced this morning before joining you guys, and that's what came out for my own practice. So that's what you got too. So I hope you enjoyed it. We are, if you haven't seen kind of our posts this week, we're staying virtual, definitely at least for the next few weeks, but probably will most likely definitely continue these virtual classes, even beyond that, because we've heard loud and clear from you guys that you like practicing at home and it's more flexible and it's more convenient and it feels safer. If you didn't see or have a chance to fill out our survey about kind of what classes are going to look like this summer, our outdoor classes that we add back in this summer, please look at your emails if you get our e-news or check our social media on Thursday. There's a link to a survey, and we'd love to hear from you. Thank you to all of you, so many of you that have already taken the time to do that. We appreciate it. So we'll be back Monday night with me at 6, this week right here on YouTube. Wednesday night at 6 with Seville. And then we'll be back next Saturday morning here again with me and Musketeer for some coffee and yoga and coffee. If you'd like to donate or contribute for class, the information on how to do that is in the description of these classes. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Oh, one more thing before we head off. 2 weeks from tomorrow, we are partnering with Bar 3 Corvallis, Eola, and Optimize You to do an at-home wellness retreat from 11 to 2 on June 7th. So it'll include yoga and meditation and mindfulness and bar work as well. So check our website for details on that. That same afternoon at 4 o'clock Pacific time is our first Yoga and Beer book club Zoom gathering to talk about the Authenticity Project. So if you haven't read the book yet, you still have 2 weeks to do so. Plenty of time. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Gianna. Welcome home. Thank you, Shelly. Thank you, Howard, Ruth, Kitty. Thank you, Sandy. I needed it too. Thank you, Catherine. I appreciate that. Thanks, Mom. Thank you, Debbie. I'm glad you found my slip. Words funny at the beginning of class. All right, guys. I'm going to put a link for Zoom if you want to come chat for a little bit and have some coffee together in the chat feature. And if not, go enjoy your day, enjoy that sunshine, and we will see you soon. Thank you, guys. Here comes that Zoom link. All right. Happy Saturday, guys. Mwah.